Okay, so hi, Tracy Laqua.
Good morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to speak to you today, and I'm really pleased that you agreed to come on our call or our set of video calls. And it's a great opportunity to connect with people. So I'm going to introduce you to our followers. So this is Tracy Laqua, who is the owner and interior decorator of In-ex-teriors, works out of Dundas, Burlington, Oakville, Hamilton, all around those areas, maybe everywhere. I don't know. She'll tell us a bit more about that. It's great to connect with you. And we are recording a number of Zoom videos with different people we know to check in on them, to see how you're doing in this kind of weird, strange time, and to connect with people. That's important, and while we're doing that, to introduce you to our audience, and hopefully, people will learn a bit more about you. So, again, thanks for taking the time. So, what I wanted to kick off with is for you to kind of give us a background about what you do, how you got there, maybe, and what you do in your business, and then we're going to ask you a little bit about you as a person, what your passions are, what gets you out of the bed in the morning, type of thing, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you're coping with the current crisis. So why don't you kick off and tell us about your business? Because I know a bit about your business, quite a lot about your business, I think, and I think it's really interesting. And tell us about that. Tell us about In-ex-teriors and Tracy Laqua.
Excellent, thanks, Alan. So you mentioned how I got here. So I think first I'll start with a little bit about my business, and then we'll talk about the very tangled road or path that we took to get here.
Okay.
And then I'm certainly happy to answer any other questions. So In-ex-teriors is an interior design and decorating company. We started in our home office here in Dundas, and we've recently become a member of the Lionsgate Design Collective in Mississauga. So we have a great studio in South Mississauga as well. And that's has been going well, until the last few weeks, right? So like everybody else, we're all in these strange times. We're trying to navigate life and business, and what does that look like? And so In-ex-teriors, we do whole home renovations. One room, kitchen, bathrooms obviously are very popular, basements. You name it, on the interior, we do it. And it doesn't have to be a large project. Sometimes clients will call us because they just need a help freshening up their space. And typically, this would be a great time of year for people to do that. And I think there's, over the next few weeks, there are things that we can do to help homeowners who are stuck at home and have climbed every wall possible. And now they're just looking for a little bit of help with what can I do with what I have in the house, just to what I call little appease me projects, right? And just to get them through the next few weeks, or maybe even the next few months. So we're certainly able and willing to help people just kind of move forward, whatever forward might look like.
Yes, good point.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that phrase, whatever forward may look like.
Yeah. So it has been challenging, and I think, the road to getting here, because that will kind of lead into transparency. So the road to get here, I did not start off, graduating from high school and thinking, I'm going to be an interior decorator. No, I spent, 20 plus years in the automotive industry. Automotive finance, to be exact. But a lot of the things that I had an opportunity to do there all led me to owning my own business. And they were all experiences that have been indescribable and have been extremely helpful in helping me navigate owning a business. And
you're talking about the total admin side of it, the finance, all of those, the nitty gritty and the weed stuff that a lot of entrepreneurs don't actually know. Really, they have this great idea. I'm gonna run a business, and they have the passion, but they don't have the under the hood stuff. So you're a little bit different. I think that it's interesting that you had this kind of training, so to speak,
Yeah.
on the job of the under the hood mechanics, and then you apply that to a business.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when I started with that company, I actually started in Halifax, Nova Scotia, because I'm from Nova Scotia. So I had a great opportunity to start with them there, and the admin, like you said, the behind the scenes stuff, like answering phones, how to answer a phone properly, and in the collection department, which in my business, not that we have to do full fledged
Everybody's got to
hardcore
collect.
collections.
Everybody's got to collect.
That's right. People need to pay their bills, and I've been very fortunate to work with great clients, and that's not really been an issue.
Amazing.
But then moving to Toronto, when they provided me an opportunity to work in their marketing and communications department.
Wow.
And let's face it, as a sole entrepreneur, marketing and communications in any business is huge. So how do you do that, and how do you do it in such a way that makes or encourages people to want to connect with you? How do you do that? And I think if there was just one answer to that, really, I think we'd have a very different conversation, because that would be, the $1 million answer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's different for so many industries, right?
Yes.
It's different. Yeah. Yeah. So, in full transparency, how are we coping and managing through COVID? I think that depends on what hour, what day you ask. Right. So I think, the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be very honest, I did not cope well.
No.
I'm a person, I like to be around other people.
Like your
I
routine.
would say I'm an extrovert, but I still enjoy, social contact, being in a group of people and chatting. Yes. And, I really enjoy that. And, business went from being, from having clients to almost overnight, everything was stopped.
Yes.
Right. And so now what do you do?
Yeah.
So, I'm very thankful that we live in a country, we have a great government that has provided us with relief, right? I mean, that's just
great direction.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blessing. But I think, now that I spent the first, 2 or 3 weeks of COVID, what I'll call grieving, and, feeling sorry for myself, what are we going to do now? And, not going to lie, watched a lot of Netflix,
yep.
That first 2 or 3 weeks,
yep.
But I'm done with that now.
Yeah.
So the last couple of weeks, it's been, really, pulling up my socks and figuring out how to move forward.
This is really interesting. And I have to tell you, on a call, I think it was with Sam Gamble from Atlas Outdoor in Michigan. And we spoke about this, and it was really interesting. And I think a lot of people, have gone through the same experience. I think if you line everybody up and everybody's honest, we'll all say the same thing. And it was that this thing happened, and we said, what the hell is this? We didn't have to cope with it, and we kind of shut down a bit, and we were frustrated and angry and said, oh, what the hell? What's my future going to look like? My business has stopped. It was going to be a great year. Many times I've heard people saying that, everything's going very well. And then it was kind of like stop, shut down, and it was that kind of anger and not accepting of it. And then after a while, as you said, you kind of shook your head a bit and said, well, this is it. Human beings adapt. This is the new normal, as you said, for however long, and we need to adapt to it. And I can tell you, I had a mirror image of what you just said. Lots of days, when this happened, I said, right, okay, I'm going to get those things done now, and I kind of sat down. And then, hours later, I was like, what just happened? I didn't get anything done because I was reading the news. And, so as human beings, it's been a shock, right? It's been a bit shock and awe. So I think what you just said there, absolutely, and I think it's going to resonate with everybody. I think you just need to be honest with yourselves. Don't feel guilty about it. We all floundered. Because it was like a rudderless ship. We didn't know where to go, what was going on, what the hell. But you're right. Great to live in a country with a great system and great leadership and direction for this whatever your politics are for right now. They're leading, and I think that's great. So I think your experience mirrors everybody else. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So so then you ask yourself, at least with me, I ask myself the question, how do you move forward? Because you have this business that I've poured my heart and soul into for 11 years. To some people that will seem like a long time, and other business owners, it's still,
It's
a
a long
baby,
time.
so to
It's a long
speak, in
time.
business, right?
Yeah, it's a long time.
But how do you move forward? And it really took me a few days to get my head wrapped around, wanting to move forward, but not knowing where forward was, or what that looked like. Right? So I'm a planner, right? And people who know me know that I love to plan. I have lists, I have checklists for the like I am organized.
Yes.
And, people have often said, if you want to make God laugh, just make a plan.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Right? So, lately that has been, what does forward look like? Where do I want my business to go? And I think something that has been kind of, I've been mulling around in my head for the last, week or so is, at the end of all of this, and COVID will come to an end.
Yes.
Right? And people will resume business, they'll resume life. But for myself, I've already accepted the fact that it may not be normal. And I will try my very best not to compare the future to what used to be.
Yes.
It's not, things aren't normal.
Yes.
Well, they're not normal, and they may never be like that again.
Yes.
But I need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
In order for me to cope and move forward.
I completely agree. You have to accept that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then it was, I kind of went through a period of a few days where, what does that look like? And I think, on a personal note, at the end of COVID, I want to be able to look back and find things that I am grateful for that came out of as a result of COVID. And so yesterday I actually started, I don't know if you can see, I started a little COVID gratitude journal.
Got it. I like it.
Right? Just things, because, it's happened at different points in my life, and I'm sure other people as well. You go through a life event and you think, oh, I thought I should really write these things down.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to write them down because, clearly I'll remember.
Yeah. No. Great point. Great point.
So I thought, I'm going to start writing down all these
document some stuff. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Exactly. Because I really do believe there's hope. And I really do believe that at the end of this, that great things will come as a result of this. Now, I'm not saying in any way that I'm happy that COVID has happened and people are, have been ill, and some people have lost family members.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that in any way.
It's tragic.
But you have to make the best of it.
You do. It's a tragic situation. You're right.
Yeah.
But you do have to make the best of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So, so for me, personally, I've made a list, shocker, of just things that I want to do around the home or the property, this year.
Yeah.
Not things that I have to get done during COVID.
Okay.
Because, that may not happen. I may have a day when, I don't feel like doing anything, and I'm okay with that. But then there are other days when I feel very productive and I can conquer the world.
Yeah.
And so I've made that list, and as things get done, they get crossed off, but there's no pressure to get it done. It's not, I don't feel it's a competition on who can check off the most things on the list.
It's not a competition. You're right.
Yeah. So, so just, taking advantage of that. And I think one of the things I'm grateful for is that prior to this, I hesitate to call it craziness like a lot of people do, because I try to have a mindset that is very positive. And so I don't like to think of it as being crazy times, but they're just unfamiliar times.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
And I think there are, one of the things that I'm very grateful for is that it has forced me to slow down.
Yes.
How many times we talk to people
and
they're so busy, you're on a hamster wheel, and it's just go, 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 go.
Yeah, it's true.
And
it's very true.
Everybody to slow down.
Well, I can tell you, and it's such a great point you make, that my vision for doing these calls was, I kind of, something clicked in my brain when I said, whenever would you have an opportunity of reaching out to somebody and you kind of know they're going to be at home, and you kind of know they're going to excuse me, you kind of know they're going to have time.
Yeah.
And you kind of know that they're probably looking to speak to people and connect with people, right? So there's this unique set of circumstances, and sure enough, I sent out X amount of links and I go bam, 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 bam. So I
Yeah.
had this, I use this kind of app. Yeah, I use this app called Calendly, and it connects and it arranges all of the Zoom stuff. And I was just like, ding, 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 ding. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop. Which is testament to the fact, as I said, that people are like, yeah, I want to talk to somebody, I want to connect. And I think that's been really, really interesting, and kind of testament to the fact that people are in this, as you said, unique situation where we're kind of all hunkered down. And I agree with your point as well. Obviously, this will pass. And I think one of the things is that I do agree with you, and it's all guesswork right now, that, you know, post-COVID will be different to pre-COVID. One of the big things, and I'm going to ask you now what your thoughts on this, but one of the big things obviously is online, we'll call it commerce and activity, has blown up, right? So you now have small little mom and pop stores, you know, in Dundas or wherever you live, who never wanted to go e-commerce. No way. You know, we like people walking in brick and mortar. Now they realize that they have to survive. So they've done that. They've kind of embraced it, kind of different types of systems and stuff like that, which is fine. They're doing the best they can. They're doing the curbside pickup and stuff like that. And I think post-COVID, most of these companies are going to say, right, well, we need to continue on that strategy and have our bricks. So I think that's a good thing, personally. I think it will open up a whole new. I think companies will grow, to be honest. I think they'll grow their business, especially those companies that didn't do it before and were resisting the change. They'll be like, okay. They won't be as kind of suspicious and fearful or, you know, whatever of online. They'll say, oh, that got us through, you know, a tough time, and it brought money in the door, right? I've seen a great, you know, I've seen some inspirational posts from different companies, especially local companies, because obviously we resonate more with local companies that we know. And I've seen Cobetown Golf Club, which is run by the Forth company, and Barry Forth now runs that. I know Barry a bit from kids in baseball and stuff like that. But Barry worked for a big international kind of media company, Wasserman Media. He went to all the big events, tennis, the whole lot. And then he decided to work for the family, the company this year, and then COVID. And he's a great guy. And you can see he's bringing all his expertise. But what he's done is, and I've just been watching him, it's a golf club. They serve food, but he's kind of flipped it. And now they're really pushing the food end of it. And he said they're selling out. So each time they have like 800 slots or something. And he's like, sold out. I've never answered the phone this much in my entire life. So, you know, it just shows people in traditional businesses who never think of that are adapting and serving Easter brunch to hundreds of people, right? And you know, and on the you know, on the hard-nosed business side of things, they have a business. You know, they got to try and bring in the revenue. I mean, you know, on their golf course. So that's just an example of a company just kind of adapting and saying, "Hang on, that's what I love to see." You know, I know it's tough, but I think what you've experienced, what you described as being, you know, in denial for a few weeks, we've all done it. We absolutely have, and then coming out of that and saying, "Right, how do I move forward?" I think resilient human beings and entrepreneurs will say, okay, what's the environment like now, and how do I react to that? You kind of analyze what's in front of you, and you kind of go, right. So what kind of ways do you think it will affect your business? I mean, you still got to meet people and stuff like that, but what do you think in terms of going forward? Just ideas, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, I get a little bit excited when I start talking about this, and this is why. So, and I was thinking about this a few days ago. You know, when we're doing an interior renovation for a client, there is not one contractor or designer and decorator out there that can say that every single project runs 100% smoothly.
No,
doesn't happen. No. Right? You run into a surprise, you run into a problem, a challenge, and then what do? You problem solve. Right? You find a way, and that challenge forces you to be creative.
Yes.
In how you solve that problem to get your client exactly what they want.
Yes.
Well, COVID is kind of similar.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. It's a project. It's gone sideways.
Exactly. go way sideways.
Called life.
Right?
Project called life.
But it's forcing people to be creative in how to get your brand, your products, your services out to clients. And like you said earlier, people don't want to be sold to right now. So what can we do for our clients? What offers can we create? How can we spend our time effectively? So when business resumes, we're ready to hit the ground running.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I have spent time, reevaluating, my systems and processes that I currently have in place. And fortunately, I kind of went through that process a little bit last year as well. So that was very helpful. So now the opportunity, that I was presented with was, how do we do that? And what can we offer people now that will be fun, educational, but in a fun way?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how can we still meet with clients, right? And I'm so grateful for technology. I mean, can you imagine being in COVID with no technology available?
No, really isolating, terribly bad,
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
So, we're still holding and having video conference calls with meetings with clients, where we would typically meet with them in person, either in the studio or in their home. Now we do it via video conference, which I know a lot of businesses are doing.
Yes.
But it's, provided an opportunity for us to kind of rethink our process. And maybe, before, when we would have said, well, no, we really there's value in the face-to-face.
Yes.
Which there is.
It's a great point.
But now we can just do it a little differently.
It's a great point.
Now there's another option.
You can nearly, okay, you're not going to have video meetings with every single person who says, I need some paint. But you're still going to qualify people, but I agree. I think that's a great point. I do know a whole lot of businesses who have the same, we'll say, sales process as your business, where it's that initial, you can bring the client into your showroom, but a lot of times you also do go out into their space. And I know a lot of outdoor companies as well, and I think it's a little bit of a kind of an evolution now in the current situation where let's get on a video call first. I know sometimes people will say, come and after this they'll say, come and see me. Well, maybe let's get on a video call first. Let's have a face-to-face on video. Everybody's getting more used to it. That's a great thing. More comfortable, and then maybe a site visit follows. Of course, you're going to get on site at some stage when this is finished. But I agree with you, and I think that's a positive thing, and I think that will help you and other businesses. I think that will help you. Actually, I think that will help you grow your business because you will get to people quicker. And for a video call, it's a video calls now. You can do multiple video calls in a day. We all drive too much. Let's be honest. I mean, your car has your car moved a lot? Mine certainly hasn't.
No.
I'm going to be honest and say I can't remember the last time I put gas in I can't remember the exact time.
I know, right?
And then this is coming back to your journal. Write that stuff down. I can't remember when I put gas in my car. I just go to the supermarket, right? So I think another kind of what I definitely have a kind of a vision that it will help businesses like you, because you'll get the people quicker and you'll qualify them quicker. On a Zoom video, you can also qualify people and say, well, that person doesn't really need me, or they don't really have a project, or they're not ready. I know that's a big thing with you. So I think that's going to be a positive. I think that's going to be a positive if you deal with it. And I like the way you're looking at it in an open way.
Yeah. I was on, I guess going back to, part of answering the question on, how we're managing through COVID, I think education and educating yourself, and now that we have time, right?
Yes.
I've been spending a lot of time, watching, webinars, educational, just related to the design and decor industry.
Amazing, yeah.
And yesterday I had an opportunity to be on a Zoom call with about 700 other designers and decorators around North America.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
And it was, so much great information and support that came out of that. But something that somebody said really resonated with me. And it was, now we have an opportunity to find our zone of geniusness.
I
And I
like
thought,
that.
oh,
Yeah.
I like that, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
This is your
So,
opportunity. Yeah.
so that's been, kind of spinning around in my
Yeah.
head.
And I think, what, that's impressive to be on a Zoom call like that. And you probably want to be on a Zoom call like that anytime, but it just happens to be now that you're in this COVID situation, that gives you the opportunity to do that because you're more focused on that. How can I use my time? What videos are out there I can watch? And I'm like you as well. It's a time to, reskin some stuff, get some projects done that I want to do. I mean, from our perspective, being a media marketing company, marketing always suffers at times like this. So marketing will suffer, and the gurus, always come out and say, marketing gurus, the tough times, it's time to double down with your marketing. Yes, it is. But in real life, people, they're hoarding their cash, they're hunkering down. So you will get marketing from people, you'll get business from people from our perspective, but it just, it might not be as expansive as quick. It'll go on a curve, we believe, like everybody else, it'll go kind of on a curve, And one of the big things I'm looking at now is literally webinars and kind of education and educating people and giving a lot away for free, just putting it out there, because that will eventually, it will come back to you. People will get to know you and trust you. So I think it is about, it's all about adapting to what's in front of us and saying, okay, here's what it is, and here's the cards. Okay, what hand have I got? Oh, it's not a great hand. What am I going to do, right? Let me ask you a little bit about your kind of, passions, non-business in the normal times. Like, what do you get up to in the community? I know it's church there, and tennis as well. So tell us a bit about that.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Tennis.
Tennis,
tell us a bit about what you do when you're not working. So, in the normal times, wherever they were, right? So what do you do to kind of, keep your sanity?
So a couple of things to keep my sanity. I love to play tennis, and especially love to play outdoors. So, part of the the grieving process 2 or 3 weeks ago was realizing that there's not going to probably be tennis for quite some time. So that was a tough pill to swallow. I have to be honest about that. But I also love gardening, and I can still garden.
Amazing.
Right? Love being outdoors with my hands in the dirt. Love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And, something else that brings me a lot of joy is, a couple of our neighbors have very young children.
Yes.
And just, being out playing with them. Well, you can't do that right now.
Yes.
But, but I love doing that.
Yeah.
You're out, playing hockey or ball or whatever it is.
Yeah, in the sunshine. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, and that will come back.
Yeah, and it will come back. That will come back. So those are things that I love to do. I absolutely love to do tennis, gardening, just hanging out. With
Got
friends.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to say to you, and just to kind of, round it off with this. So, and not that I'm asking you to be a self-help guru or anything like that, but like,
that's good.
That's good.
There might not be a lot of help.
You can make some money there, run some webinars. But what would you, people are, because everybody's, I think human beings are, back to the start of our conversation, oh God, for 2 or 3 weeks when this happened, I didn't do anything, I wasn't very productive, and they feel guilty. And it's like, it's okay. It's, we're all human beings. We all, we all went through the same things. Yeah. Everybody, there's nobody on day one said, oh, it's COVID. I've been here before. This is how we're going to get through it. So what would you, I don't know, what tips would you give people? What has, in the latter stages of it now that you're up and running, you've mentioned some stuff, but what would you give as tips to people to kind of, to maintain or try and maintain sanity? You spoke a little bit about online learning and stuff like that. So what would you say?
Yeah. So, there's lots of things that you can do online, whatever your interests are, right? Find an online group. For example, yesterday was day number 1 with a new accountability group that I've become a member of. That's right, for business, right? Mm-hmm. And that was great. So we had our first Zoom meeting, and it was wonderful. There was, just 5 or 6 of us on the call, but it really made me feel like really going to move forward here. Yeah. Like things,
and you're
things
helping
are
each other, keeping each other accountable, inspiring each other as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, And I think, something else for me, I know I mentioned it earlier, is, you know, to be okay with things not being normal.
Yeah, got it.
And for people who like to plan and like to be in control, you also have to be okay with giving up some of that control, right?
A lot of that control.
let's be honest, all of it.
All of it, yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
But just to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I
good.
think that
That's
there's
good
lots of
advice.
things, lots of things that we can do, to move forward. If you're a person that needs to stay busy, then stay busy.
Yeah.
And if you're a person that needs to sit and relax, then do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I don't feel there's no guilt. There's no playbook. And here's a question I'm gonna kind of round it off with in relation to your business. So if you what tips could you give to people in relation to interior decorating right now? Because they're in the space that they live in, and they typically interior decorate. I think personally your business is going to boom after this, because people are going to be in that space, and of course they're going to examine all of the faults or all of the functional faults. And I know you're a lot into the function of space in terms of the utility. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are going to absolutely realize that the way they have their space laid out, especially with families, is not the way it should be. So I'm going to predict that that's going to blow up, and people are going to say help. What can they do now while they're at home? What little projects could they do to keep themselves busy that aren't too kind of difficult or onerous in terms of interior decorating,
or they don't cost anything?
True.
Right.
True.
So there's two things that people can do at home right now to kind of move things forward, if you will. Every single person, it doesn't matter if you live in an apartment, if you're renting your space, if you own your space, it makes no difference whatsoever. Every person has collected stuff, right? So go through your stuff.
Great tip.
Go through everything. So many people have garages. Very few people park in the garage because there's no room.
Yes.
Right? So
it's full of stuff.
Right? So go through your stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And not that you can actually donate it anywhere right now, but just make those piles.
Be ready. Get ready.
And be ready. Right? Be ready. So that's step number one. Step number two, and I did this myself with my office space the beginning of last week. And I know this will come as a shock, but I rearranged it.
Wow. Again.
Go figure.
Again.
Rearrange the office.
Yeah.
So I tore it apart and I gave it a good cleaning, and just really had a
I just did this yesterday.
Yeah.
Moved my office somewhere else in the house because it wasn't working where I had it. Yeah.
Yeah, completely switched everything around, and it functions so much better for me now. Right?
That's a great
Whereas, when you're, working, for those folks who work in your business and you're busy all the time, or maybe you don't have a business, but you have kids and you're out every night of the week and you're doing stuff obviously before COVID, then you often don't have time. But now people have time. Right? Yes. So take advantage of the time. Get the family involved, make it a nice family activity, and go through your stuff.
Great tips.
And rearrange your furniture. Just move things around.
Yes.
Right? Things are very seldom nailed to the floor.
Yeah.
Take advantage of that.
Great tips. They're awesome tips.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. It's great. It's as good as I thought it would be in terms of the content that would come out of it. I think there's lots of information there, and just kind of perspectives, I think is the word I would use. And the other people who I've spoken to, again, it's just interesting to hear different people's perspective, but the one common thread through all of that is people of a positive mindset, like you, and just saying, okay, right, we're here, here's where we are, let's get through this, and then there's a brighter day kind of coming, which I think a lot of people need to hear that, because fear is a horrible thing, and when you're worried about your paycheck and you're scratching your head saying what the heck, what's going to happen. I think that's kind of it's nice to hear other people actually talking about hope and the future, and here's some stuff you can do. So that's what we always ask people. Any ideas what you could do right now? I think they're great tips.
Mm-hmm. And, just one more tip, if I may, make a list. If you know that you want to make changes in your home at a future date,
yes,
do some research online.
Yes, it's
Find
great
some
time.
inspiration photos. Right now is the time. You've got the time. Spend the time and do that, right? And just make a list.
Yeah, we're going to tag you in every when we post this video, and I'm sure you're open to people to reaching out if they have any questions.
Sure.
Even right now, because they can get ahead of the curve a little bit. Because again, I think we will, go back to some type of normal. It will get busy again. It's a busy economy. It's a great country. There's great activity out there, and I think we're all kind of pretty much agreed. We just don't know when. When is the thing? It will happen. So I think so we will tag you. So I'll encourage anybody watching the video to click on Tracy's links and In-ex-teriors links. Connect, talk, ask questions. You can even DM or leave a comment under this video, wherever it is, if it's on YouTube, down below, or Facebook or Instagram, and we'll make sure that we connect you. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. Again, you win the prize for the best backdrop.
Thank you.
It was even nicer than Dave's. I have to tell you that Dave was the only one that went for the virtual backdrop.
Oh, did you really?
And it was one of his previous projects.
Oh, there you go.
He was very preening, look. It was awesome. Look at me.
In that outdoor space right now.
So I did give him the recognition he was looking for. Oh, Dave, that's a lovely backdrop. What is it?
There you go.
Oh well, it's funny you say that, Alan. So, I like yours exudes kind of calm. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll talk soon, next week. And until then, I'll let you know when we post these videos. And until then, Tracy Laqua, In-ex-teriors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan.